This is an article out of Arabian Money. Could the rise of the US dollar be the biggest consensus disappointment this year and gold the biggest winner? Nobody really knows the answer to these questions. This article talks about how everybody loves the dollar. Besides, the other thing we know pretty much for certain is that the volatility and surprise events are back in global finance for 2015. That's a recent trend from the back end of 2014 and can be rolled over into the new year. Well, it's always been there. Ever since, yes, things can happen out of nowhere and probably will. Goes down and talks about how the rise of the US dollar in 2014 came with a solid and reliable upswing in equities. Well, duh, they're manipulating the market with that. The Fed manipulates the market, the plunge protection team, all of that, everything, that's what they're doing. And it says gold has become very oversold. I would say very manipulated down. Gold has become, let's just put that in there. Gold has become very manipulated down against the US dollar, although it was the second best performing global currency of 2014. Did you get that? Do you understand the significance of that statement right there? Gold has become very oversold against the US dollar, although it was the second best performing global currency of 2014. Why would it be the best performing currency? Because unknown to most Americans who get a good helping of mainstream media on a daily basis, the rest of the world is switching over to a different standard, and you have read instances where Russia and China have been doing deals with each other. Russia and Iran have been doing deals with each other. What do I mean by that? Well, they're trading with each other not through use of the US dollar as the world reserve currency, the petrodollar system. They are trading amongst themselves in deals like gold for oil, or oil for rubles, or whatever, or they're seeking ways to find diversification outside of the U.S. dollar paradigm. And that's where that statement really rings home. Gold has become one of the second best performing global currency in 2014. So if it's the second best performing global currency, then the US dollar is that other currency that is at this time, according to this article, doing a little better than gold. Well, what's going to happen? What are they talking about? Well, they're talking about gold competing with fiat currencies. And there's going to come a time when fiat currencies do not hold a candlestick to gold. It may not happen, this year or next year, but it's coming. There's been a new standard that's been established by the BRICS. And irregardless of what the mainstream media says about that, the BRICS are going to go forward in their quest to dethrone the United States currency as the world reserve currency, and they've developed an economic settlement a settlement system that will enable them to do that very thing. It's not going away. Rather, it's going to gain steam, and it is going to hit this country like a ton of bricks. And the United States is pushed into a corner under $18 trillion of debt. And look at all of the derivative exposure that our major banks are exposed to. How many, a quadrillion dollars, who knows what our exposure to the derivative market is. And if that market were to suddenly collapse, it would be just absolutely catastrophic. $18 trillion of debt, at least 2 quadrillion derivatives worldwide. over $200 trillion of unfunded liabilities. These things have not changed. And though you don't hear it in the mainstream news, it should be something that is on the back of every American's mind. And when you think of the ramifications of what's coming and the crash that's going to get here, and I think it's going to come in stages, and we may see a serious currency collapse in which the Fed has to come in and launch massive amounts of QE to prop up the dollar. And, people will be all for it because they've accepted this banking system. It's what they know. It is, the bailouts that were orchestrated by Henry Paulson in front of Congress in the fall of 2008. That system's been with us since then, and the quantitative easing and the manipulation of interest rates and every other financial lever and mechanism that can be pulled has been pulled in order to keep this Ponzi scheme, fiat current system that we have from completely imploding. So, what does 2015 hold? I don't know. I guess we're going to see how far they can take the debt. When you see it go over 18 trillion and then 19 trillion and 20 trillion, it's got to make your butt pucker up just a little bit. If you have any common sense, or if you have just even a shred of knowledge about the systems like this that always collapse, like they have in many countries around the world, including Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, Argentina twice since, I believe, 2001. It's coming, America, and you've had your head stuck up Facebook and stuck in your smartphones and watching football, which I'm guilty of. I've watched a lot of the NFL this year just for the sheer fact that to me it's kind of an escape from just the lamestream media stuff or anything else. It's just I love watching the NFL. I guess I always have, but see, I'm just as guilty. This is going to be looked upon in the history books as probably the most idiotic people. We are the most idiotic, probably, generation of people that have ever lived. Instead of advancing ourselves or improving our minds, we're on Facebook, we're doing, we're on our smartphones looking up stupid stuff, and we're really failing ourselves as people. But, and then this stuff going on, through the shadow government, the Fed government, banker cabal government, shadow government. This is what we've signed on to. It's what we've agreed to. It's what Americans want. When they go to the polls and they vote for a Republican, or they go to the polls, they vote for a Democrat, they're saying that we like this system. We like this fiat-based system, and we want representatives that back the fiat system, because that's what you get with a Democrat or a Republican or anybody who's the mainstream establishment politician. That's what you're going to get, is that politician's going to back this messed up system. And it's just going to fail horribly one day, and we won't have to worry about having elections, because the country will probably just be clamped down, and will become essentially another, East Germany or whatever. History's all predicted this. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say, and we'll see how things play out to 2015, and Happy New Year.